I want this thing crazy high. It's gonna command attention. A work truck bed on top of a big lift like this. Wait till you see all the speakers that's gonna go in that bed. This thing is gonna be loud. It's always cool to work on your own project. There's no limitations. It's on you.
Come on out with it.
This is gonna be the king around here.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
You know, back in 2011, we took a Suburban, cut that thing in half, and made it a two-door Tahoe. You know, back when this was built, this was a shocker for the world. 8 years later, you can still take this thing to a car show, and it's still killing it. And this is just a prime example of something I wanted myself to have a business card for Extensive and really set its mark in the custom world. It was something really cool, over the top, and we're definitely not done doing that.
Ooh. Pulling out of retirement?
Uh-huh. Got a guy wanting this thing, so we're gonna meet him at a local little car show up in Tyler, where I'm gonna hand over the keys, man.
Wait, like it's leaving?
It's
like...
leaving.
Oh, man.
It's still gonna continue to go to car shows. It'll just be kind of like a foster home for it.
Okay, cool.
Time to move on, right?
Yeah.
It's time for something new. You know, it's time for this to go. We're gonna load it up, take it to a local car show. This turbine's gonna start its new life with its new owner. I hate selling this thing, but it's gonna fund the new over-the-top project. We're out at Turkey Drag Car Show. You know, it's always good to get out of the shop, come see what's going on, see some cool cars. Today's kind of bittersweet, though. Part of the family's leaving, but, you know, it's always nice to get that little check also.
So what's up, Bill? How you doing, man?
What's happening, man?
All right, all right.
You made it?
Yes, sir.
What do you think, you finally getting to see this thing in person?
I've been looking for this truck for 8 years.
Yeah?
It's amazing. This truck is super cool, man. Something like nobody else has. That's exactly what they got it for sale. So I made the call, we pulled the trigger, and we're here.
What's your favorite thing about this?
I like the way you did it. When we shorten it, make it two-door. That's the only one on the earth. I gotta have it, bro.
It's really cool. Antonio's been following this car, you know, for 8.5 years, and he's finally seeing it in person.
Oh, man. That's what I'm talking about, man.
You know, it's the factory 5.3 in this thing, but it's just all cleaned up. It doesn't look like that factory engine anymore, right?
No, it don't look like it no more, man. You can see it from every angle. You can see everything, something different.
If you like this, you're definitely gonna like the interior.
But I think it's crazy, man. You got speakers everywhere, man.
3 big 12s in the back. You see the big hole in the roof. That's out of a Cadillac SRX. You can't buy one that big. Cut that out of another roof and then graft it into this one.
I think it's my right size, man. Yeah.
You know, when Antonio's sat in this seat, I can tell he's been wanting to do that for a long time.
Man, look at that. Man,
it's got a ton of power back here, right?
Man, I would like to drive this thing with the trunk up.
I'm glad it's going to a good home and somebody that really appreciates this. Enjoy it, man. Need something, holler. Looking at this thing for the last time, we've done a good job on it. I can't thank all my guys enough for all the late nights and hard work, because as you can see in the car show here, it's... You know, I've gone to shows East Coast to West Coast, almost every state. You see a bunch of lowered trucks, lifted trucks, people trying to creep up on us. You know, we can't be having that. That just makes me want to build just something over the top, just lifted super high. If you're gonna build a lifted truck, you want something totally different that nobody's seen before. This is the truck to get. I've got a 2020 Chevrolet medium duty that is just gonna be insane. The medium duty trucks are in between a 1-ton and an 18-wheeler, so just putting it way up in the air is definitely something you don't see ever. It's gonna command attention no matter where it goes. This is gonna be the king around here. Is the truck brand new? Yes. Are we gonna lift it really, really high? Yes. Are we gonna pull it in the shop and tear it totally apart and start over? Absolutely.
Tire company's gotta love you. What is this, test drive or what?
Well, yeah, test drove it. It's my new project.
Oh, Lord.
You always got to have the bigger, fatter, right? Just the natural progression. Taking a medium duty, putting our spin on it, our style to it, is just going to put us over the top again.
I'm scared to see what you're gonna come up with next after this one's that high. But I got you a bay open. Let's go ahead and pull it in there and we'll get it racked up.
So you got me a spot?
Got you a spot.
Let's do it. You know, always before starting a project like this, you always get a little anxious. Just, you know, you can't really wait to get started working on this. I mean, it's still, you know, a passion for all of us. It's the anticipation of getting the thing done, getting it out on the road, and just having a good time with it. It doesn't get any better than that. Most of the time you start out with a blank canvas, right? Well, in this case, we're gonna create the canvas and then add to that also. So the finished product is just gonna be something that's gonna blow everybody away. You know, I love being able to prove myself, to prove my team to everybody. Building a lifted truck, that's fun for me. But building a super huge dually truck that's gonna end up being, you know, over 12,000 pounds when we're done, super high off the ground, that's just something. What you think about this, Jamie?
Man, that's brand new. I ain't seen one of these yet.
Right? Man, I got some big plans for this. You know, first things first, we're gonna get this thing up on the lift, and then we're just gonna build a crazy drop-down air suspension with the big shocks. You know, huge 4-link on this thing with the big 1-inch Heims, super thick DOM. I mean, this thing's gonna be bulletproof. And you know I gotta have some big wheels and tires on this thing.
Definitely.
I wanna keep that dually in the back, too. Raising this thing up, we're not shooting for a specific amount of inches. I want this thing way off the ground. We're just gonna lift this thing till it looks right. When it looks right, we'll go a little bit higher. Because this thing's gonna be crazy high. You know, look at the steps on this. This definitely isn't gonna cut it. So we're gonna build some custom running boards on this thing so you can just walk right on up and won't have to crawl up in this big old thing.
Right.
And as far as the bed, you know, I wanna do like a utility style bed with the toolboxes and all that.
A work truck bed on top of a big lift like this with the air suspension. And,
Yeah, you don't ever see anything like that.
I've never seen nothing like that.
Wait till you see all the speakers and all the stereo that's gonna go in that bed.
Oh, man.
You know
what?
we gotta have it loud. You know it's gotta be loud. They go by you like, man, why? I want that feel of industrialism.
Right.
You know what I mean?
This front end's a little bit too shiny for you.
Chrome, make this thing cool. We're gonna have to step it up in the interior too.
Yeah.
You know, leather inside, suede headliner. And this thing doesn't even come with carpet. Of course we're gonna put that in it too. We're gonna make the inside just plush as can be.
I'm excited. I can't wait.
If you can't wait, let's do it.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
This thing is almost 6 tons stock. Because this thing is so big, we're gonna take a few extra precautions. And Jamie's gonna weld some extensions directly to the lift so we can pick this thing up safely.
Oh, that's nice. This truck was barely stocked for maybe a couple days, and it's already up on the lift. It didn't make it very long, but we're gonna make it really cool. All right, so go ahead and separate the axles from the leaf springs. Go ahead and lift up the frame, then go ahead and pull the leaf springs.
We're gonna be taking this thing to car shows all over, but it's not just about the trophy. This thing is gonna be able to get to work too. So Rudy's gonna start burning the hangers and brackets with all 5/16 plate.
Being that this typically just used for work, never lifted, we had to build some extra heavy-duty hangers to support the whole weight of this work truck. If these things aren't strong enough,
You know, the next step we're doing this huge lift, huge, super heavy lift, is building the 4-link brackets on the rear end. Rudy cut some 5/16 plate. This allows the 4-link to mount from the truck to the rear end and everything pivot. I mean, this is where all the stopping, starting, pulling power is all transferred into these pivot points here. Especially as high as this thing's gonna be, all the weight
is compounded. So this thing has to be really, really strong. This is a major point of the whole suspension. When you're lifting a big Silverado 5500 over a foot in the air, you know, the forward link has to be not only super strong and support all the weight that's going to be way up in the air, you know, it's got to look cool, too. Yeah, one of the things that makes this thing super strong is the 1-inch FK heims are really, really strong. So we're going to use that in conjunction to some really thick DOM, and that's going to make it so we never have to worry about that whatsoever.
All right, got my heims bolted up, all exactly the same, so we're gonna go ahead and bolt this up to the truck and continue with our 4-link. Now we got our 4-link bolted up, and these things look beefy. So we can go ahead and start setting up our diagonal link. A diagonal link in a wishbone is always gonna keep your rear end completely centered through all of its range of travel. This sucker right here is gonna make sure that the whole rear end is nice and straight as it travels up and down. I only wish I could say the same thing about my back right now.
This thing comes with power steering, but to save a little space, we're going to convert everything into all hydraulic steering.
So this big steering gearbox is gonna have to go. We're gonna get rid of this one and install a new hydraulic steering system. All right, so you can see our old gearbox is a whole lot bigger than our new one. In this case, looks can be deceiving. This small little guy here is gonna do just as much as our big one here. This right here is basically our servo. All it does is transfer all the hydraulic fluid down to our hydraulic pump, which is gonna be placed on the axle somewhere. Went ahead and made a brand new mount for our hood strut. That way we don't lose the support for our hood. To our steering shaft, everything looks good. And then the fun part, figuring out where that goes.
What we're doing now is mounting the hydraulic cylinder to the axle. We got a rolled piece of pipe that we had laying around the shop, so we're gonna make 3 separate pipes to hold the hydraulic cylinder for the steering and mount it right to the axle. I mean, we could use a straight piece of pipe, but it looked way cooler to have a little style to it and use the rolled pipe and be super strong also. We got the cylinder where we want. We got the rolled tubing connecting the axle to the mount. It looks good. Super strong and stylish for sure.
All right, now that we got our hydraulic cylinder mounted and welded up, we're gonna go ahead and make 2 rods, 1 for each side, to connect from the cylinder to our spindle. That way when our cylinder starts pushing those rods out left and right, our truck will go left or right. So just to make sure that our new tie rod ends are exactly the same, we're gonna go ahead and jig up the first one I just welded up. That way my second one will bolt up. We got our first new tie rod made. Go ahead and duplicate it and make another one. Tie rods are in, as you can see. As our cylinder pushes in and out, it's gonna steer our truck left and right.
We're gonna start building the air suspension, and the first part of that is building the lower bag mounts. Straight pipe is never a good idea. We want something with a little style. So Max is about to get down and get to it of rolling a lot of pipe and tubing for my truck to build the bag mounts, shock mounts, and just make it look cool. We're gonna do things a little different this time. Instead of putting the lower bag mounts in place and then building down to the axle, I think what we'll do is take the lower bag mount off, build it on the table.
That way I don't have to keep crawling under here and throwing my back out every time I get in here.
Right. I got that. Oh. We can just simulate the axle with a piece of pipe on the table and build our pipe all to that. So we're gonna make all of our pieces fit in a little square here.
You got it. Main thing here is just trying to make everything look symmetrical. It's kind of different not doing it on the truck, but with our simulated axle, everything's gonna fit right on there like if it was on the truck. It's gonna save my back and my knees and lots of time. All right, we got all these welded up. Now we go slap these on the truck.
Heck yeah, Rudy. That's gonna work good. Let's get the other side on, and then we'll put our straight edge across here and clamp it. And that, instead of trying to spend the time to level everything, you know it's 100% perfect. Weld that sucker out, and then we'll move to the uppers.
Hey, that's a great idea.
Oh, thank you, buddy.
That is what we like to call a wrap. Man, these are some big old shocks. These shocks are gonna be able to hold up all the hard work this truck is gonna go through.
You got both sides punched. Drill that side, and everything's gonna be 100% true, so the truck goes perfectly level when you're going down the road.
I don't know if you noticed it. There's a sign over there. Do not drill or weld the frame.
What do you think, Rudy? This big old shock looks perfect proportion to this big old truck, right?
Doesn't even look that big when it's on the truck.
Right. That's it, man. This is the last little bit of the suspension. This thing's ready to get blown apart and get coated.
Shoot, let's do it.
You know, it's always good to be this part of the process, you know, having all the fabrication done, all the figuring out is done. You know, all the mental anguish is over. Every part of the process from now on is just improvements. You know, it's about to be the payoff for all the hard work. I ordered a new bed for the Chevy Silverado 5500. This thing is cool, but this is just a starting platform to be able to work on your own project. There's no limitations. There's nobody telling you, what to do, what they want. There's no restrictions whatsoever. Whatever you can think of, whatever you can dream of, it's on you.
Yeah, but this much more. Come forward.
That's what the shop's all about, is building cool cars. And especially when it's your own blank canvas, you want to build something that stands out from all the rest of the builds, all the rest of the cars around. You want to make something that just has your personality built in with it. Man, I love this point of the build. Just start to see all the big pieces come together. It makes for a really good day, and especially something like this, to see a service bed like this with a truck like this. This is going to be real cool, especially when it's real high up in the air. Getting excited. The more I look at this thing together, the wheels are turning, getting a few more ideas to really top this thing off. Definitely got to get rid of this and this.
You just can't leave well enough alone, can you?
Man, this is the point. This isn't well enough. I just love this truck, how everything's looking, but the trailer lights in this thing just kill it. So what I did, man, I had this little plate lasered out for the triple stack. Weld this right in. No more trailer lights. Man, I love the style of this bed. I love the work truck feel of this truck, but it just got to have something different, something custom to set this apart from all the other ones. So the way the new bumper is going to look with the lines on the running board and they carry on to the lines around the bed, the triple stack lights are just really going to go with the whole overall feel of the truck.
It's like you're adding some TVs to the back of your truck.
I would have 10 years ago. We have them all over the place. Tim's grinding down the light panel we made. He's giving it a little bit of bevel all the way around it. So when we weld the light panel into the bed, I'll bevel this a little also. We'll grind this thing down nice and flush. No powder coat left on it, so you want it metal to metal. Nice weld, nice grind, and very little body filler. And this thing's gonna look super smooth.
These lights are gonna go in from the back side. This is the bucket that holds the LEDs. So to make a stud on here to hold these buckets, I'm gonna drill it all the way through. Then I'll take a bolt and cut. This side where the hole. Once we do that, it'll hold the bucket tight, hold it against here, it'll be bright, and it'll be better for the weather.
Let's do this, Timmy. You know, the key to doing this type of metal work is making it totally flush. So a little trick is rubbing your fingernail back and forth. That way you know for sure that one isn't sticking up higher than the other. Just ensures for a nice, even, smooth weld and grind. We got our lifted suspension back from powder coat, and I'm really happy we went with gold.
I don't know, it came out pretty good.
It looks good. It looks like something you go buy at the store, right?
Yeah.
So let's start getting all the suspension components bolted up underneath there, you know, the hangers, the bag mounts and everything, and then we'll put the axles in so we're not working around all that. Hold on. Where you at?
I need to come over right here.
Okay, look. Let it touch the frame a minute. I ain't enough.
Gotta open more.
That's 33 3/4. This is 34 1/4 now. We got a long way to go. So what we're doing is overspreading this so we can install it and not scratch our frame up, like peel off all the old paint. In the welding process, the heat makes everything distort a little bit and move and wander around. So we're overspreading it, putting it up in place, so when we put the bolts in, it's gonna cinch it all up super tight, and we're good to go. See, just little tricks like that make all the difference in the world.
Nice and tight, looking right.
We're gonna try to pull this up with straps from the truck itself and try to cause as minimum damage as we can.
You know, when you're building these things, people think this is as decorative, but really it's not. Each pipe displaces the weight on the bag mount. If you had one, it'd try to teeter-totter. Two would rock the other way. Four makes it solid. So the more you can get, just the better, the beefier it's gonna hold up. And this being a 1.5 ton, you're gonna need all the bag mount and all the support you can get. Now you can see this just completes the whole big, massive, heavy look of the truck we're going for. Just in your face, massive.
Big speaker there, small speaker there, another small speaker there.
Lifting a brand new Silverado 5500 is definitely gonna turn heads. But I also wanna make this thing really loud. So John's gonna customize the headache rack with a pair of handmade speaker pods, just like you'd see on a wakeboard boat.
We're gonna use these speakers as a chipboard and arrange it up here and see how it looks the best. And once it looks good, we'll make it out of metal. I think we'll put a couple bends in it, give it some character. We'll cut this faceplate out, and then we're gonna end up connecting this to the headache rack with a bunch of little pieces to give it that wakeboard style setup. I'm gonna get this template off of here, go trace it on some metal and cut it out. Doing custom work like this is always fun. I'm so used to doing, you know, suspension work and metal work, but when it comes to doing metal work outside the box, it's always fun to do something different. Now I got the outside shape cut out. What I'm gonna do is mark 1 1/4 all the way around, and I'm gonna cut that out, and it's gonna leave me 1 1/4 flange to go mount up on the headache rack. And I did a radius here where the speaker's gonna be at. Change it up a little bit. Now all these straight lines were easy, because I just, you know, run a torch along the It's all about finding a right spot to hold this torch and just pivot it around. Keep it steady. Stumble a little bit, the torch is gonna move, and I'm gonna mess this piece up. I'm gonna start all over. That's how you get it done. I'm gonna draw me some lines where I know to set this up in a metal brake and give it a little break here and there to give it that crazy shape that we're looking for. Now we got a little personality to this. The only thing I gotta do is do the exact same thing to the other piece. We're gonna get to cutting. We're gonna remove all of this out of there. We don't need it. It's gonna give us a much cleaner look without it. I'm free. No more locked doors. Now it's time to clean this up. Take some of this paint off so we can tack our new pieces on. That way we get these cool tower speakers built on this headache rack. We got everything grinded and sanded down nice and clean. Now we can see what we got to work with. What I'm gonna do now is tack me a couple pieces from here to the headache rack, and then we're gonna start building our plates off of that. Now I got the frames all on there. Now it's time to fit the speakers inside the frame to see how they fit all in there. Man, I'm only part way into this, and this.
The new wheels are 28 by 8 1/4, and our new tires are 42 by 15 50s. You know, they're way too big for our tire machine. So Tim's gonna take them somewhere that'll handle the job.
Should be 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, we definitely got our work cut out for us, man. It's on there.
Phase 1.
We're gonna let this beautiful machine here and that robo arm kind of push down on these sidewalls so we get underneath there and make sure that that thing fits for you.
Usually at the shop, if we have something big like this, we gotta grab some big pro bars and do it on the ground.
Like butter. See if we can get some air in this bad boy and get it rolling.
So because we work on everyday cars, this actually has a regulator on there to keep my guys safe. Because this is a 1550 on a 28 8 1/4 wheel, we're gonna hook up a direct line of just straight on air. There it goes. That's good. Perfect. Done.
Woo! Man, I was just joking about 10 or 15 minutes, but y'all made that look super easy. Y'all got this. I'm gonna get something to eat. I'll be right back.
You got
Sounds
it,
good.
Tim.
What's up, man?
That's looking good, man.
Yeah, once that grill's in there, man, it's gonna look really, really good.
We definitely want to take our time to make it right, you know, get the angles right. You want to look at it wherever you're at it. You want it to look cool.
Coolness from every angle.
Right. Finishing the sides in, boxing in is going to be pretty critical on something like this. Mm-hmm. I got the chipboard, got the tape. Start making it.
Hell yeah.
The puzzle has begun. Mm-hmm. Man, you just never know where this is going to take you, right? It's a work bed, but you still want it to look cool. You want it different, right? You don't want to be like the same one going down the street.
Yeah. If I was to see this thing going down the road, I'd be like, man, I want one of those.
Right? So it's a great start right here. You're creating the coolness factor as we go. So you want to really get back. Once you get a couple steps in, we'll get back and really look, see how that's flowing.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing about custom, right? Is making it your own, making it cool, making somebody go, man, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's what we do this for. It's kind of got a little flatness right here. Let's get a back piece on here. See if we can't change it up a little bit, give it a little more three-dimensional look. Yeah, man, that looks good, yeah.
Bill got a good start on laying this out for me, so I know exactly what he wants. This on some metal, get to cutting and breaking it. I'm gonna start breaking on here, and then I'm gonna break this line, and I'll do the two ends last. And by doing this, we'll get one nice clean piece with a few breaks in it instead of a bunch of welding going on, which will tend to cause warping. Now we got the outside cap. I'm gonna start building this inside piece for the bottom. I'm getting all my measurements off of what we already built here and transferring them over to this piece of sheet metal that's gonna fit these contours here. I'm gonna take it over to the brake, bend it. And it's just so much better trying to do this as one piece of metal than having so much work on the body guys. They could give me a pat on the back when I'm done. We're gonna tack this up there, front and back, and then trim off all the excess. Now we got this bottom panel in, we could continue over the top, connect the two. I cut me a little relief cut because the issue I'm having is the speaker mount is higher than the rest. And I'll go back and mold this in with some more material and make it look like it's supposed to be like that. And it is supposed to be. Get that all molded up and make it look good. This is one of those things that had to be done for clearance issues, but at the same time of just notching it out, we could also make it look cool.
Man, John, this thing looks so good. That's something you definitely don't see every day, right?
Right, definitely.
This thing is gonna be loud. Having built a few lifted trucks in our day, you know, you gotta think about how you're gonna climb up in it. So we made some brand new running boards for our Chevy 5500. We got the truck over on the 4-post lift. It's way easier to work on this thing, you know, perfect height, just the height you're working at, and no post in the way. What we did is take off the factory steps, and they're gonna replace it with a piece of sheet metal that we had bent that's gonna make our running board and our spot for our toolboxes. Cleans it up a lot, huh? Hides all that, and it gives it a little style, too.
Way better. Now it looks complete.
Let's give it a quick little rough cut. You know, anytime you're doing something like this where, you know, you get one shot at it. You know, it's a little bit of work taking this 3, 4, 5, 6 times, but, you know, it's a lot more work to go back and have to recreate something you already cut off too much of. Looks like a factory part. I guess the next step is cutting the holes out, and we'll get these boxes in. Man, I kind of like it right there. Little cut lines. Man, that looks way better, huh? No more flatness, gives it some depth, and it's useful.
Taking some measurements here.
You know, the speaker pods are done, but we're not finished with the audio. I want to fill some of the built-in boxes in the bed with speakers and amps. And John's over in the interior shop making some amp racks right now.
We got 9 amplifiers total going in this thing. This thing's gonna be a monster. We get these things unboxed, get them laid out, and we'll start making the amp rack. And when we have the other set of amplifiers stacked over here, we'll be able to just travel up and down through here with our wires and get this thing drawn out and make a pretty cool looking little amp rack. And we'll get all those cut out. We'll have amplifier here. Bam, bam, bam. Next thing I'm gonna do, cut out some 1/4-inch strips, get them stapled on. We'll go over to the router, find a template that I made, transfer it over onto the aluminum so I can go rough cut it out. By far the worst part of working with aluminum is having to rough cut it because you have to do it by hand. All you can do is just get after it and cut it and settle in for a long journey because it's not easy. All right, we just take our double-sided stick tape here, lay it up, get it stuck to this aluminum. Basically what we've got here is some dish soap. I like to use this stuff here for a lubricant for cutting aluminum. If you mess up cutting it, there's no fixing it. You just throw it away and start all over, and that's never fun for anybody. I've watched guys lose their jobs over scrapping parts. Not something I want to do. All right, pull these apart. All right, clean this off. Go over to Jesse, get him to weld these feet on, and we're ready to put it in the truck.
Bill can't leave well enough alone. He'd asked me to get 2 speakers out of the shop. So I brought him a box. He said, no, 2 boxes. So he's gonna have 4 more speakers to the front, so the back's gonna be loud, and now the front's gonna be loud.
My brand new Silverado medium duty is almost done. More speakers. Man, this is exactly what this thing has to have. Some kind of forward projection. So the 6.5-inch Wake Tower speakers are just perfect.
Really hope people like Bill's music. You're gonna be listening to exactly what he's listening to.
After all the work we did to the bed, it's time to get it over to body and paint so we can color match everything all black.
Welcome in, guys, welcome in.
Now the only thing left is putting all the pieces together.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yeah!
We're installing the amp rack, running boards and speaker grills, huge billet dually wheels, and then it's ready for its world premiere. You know, it's great working with great craftsmen, and it's even cooler to work with the best of friends. It just makes you strive to do better and do better and do better.
I never had an older brother, so I've always looked at Bill as that older brother you look up to that always had the cooler stuff. Way older brother.
Me and Tim have this kind of sibling rivalry for sure. We're always pushing each other, you know, when we're building things for ourselves. He's working on his own car. You go by, you're like, oh man, what is, you're gonna let this get by, Tim? I don't let him get by with stuff he would, you know, try to do on his truck, and him the same with me.
The best for his, best for mine. End of the day, we're still putting extensive on both of them. So he and I do push each other to go to the max, because it's us against everybody, not just him against me. You know, we're trying to set the bar on the whole car industry. Thanks, older bro.
Every year we have an open house at the shop. We got friends, family, old customers, and hopefully some new ones. And I can't wait to show them what we've been up to. It's always cool to, you know, have parties like this, have an open house, and just, you know, see what comes through the door. And For sure. Stuff like this is exactly what, you know, gets me excited. You know, you never know what's going to come through the gate, but when you see a big mud truck and a monkey, you got to go see what's going on. How old is he?
4 months.
4 months? Man, he's cool. Man, this thing's crazy. You know, there's a certain kind of person that loves lifted trucks. And for them, a brand new Chevy 5500 medium duty, 14 inches in the air, is going to blow them away.
Hey, you guys, come on over. I want to show you guys something. Come on. Come on over. For real, thank you guys for coming out, you know, and always supporting, you know, myself, my team, Extensive. It says a lot to me. You know, you guys coming out, and I know it's free food and free beer, but thanks for coming.
Thanks, Bill.
I want you guys to check out the latest Extensive build and tell me what you think.
Yeah!
All right, Timmy, come on out with it.
You know, another example of just teamwork makes the dream work. Brand new medium duty Silverado 5500 doesn't come like this. When I got this thing, it was just a cabin chassis, just basic work truck, no frills whatsoever. So first thing we did is got it in the shop, put it on the lift, and got it at the height that looked good. Push the button again, a little higher. Push the button again, a little, all right, cool. Get the axles down in the right spot and just build everything from the truck down to the ground. Starting out with the big, huge 4-link underneath this thing, big bags. This thing gets 14 inches of lift from all the way down to all the way up, totally adjustable. You know, if you're gonna have a big 4x4 truck like this, you gotta have some unique, cool wheels on this thing. 28-inch dually. You know, I wanted to go something totally different and do a utility bed. You know, nobody does a bed like this on a truck like this.
Typical Bill fashion, when we got the bed, couldn't leave well enough alone. You think you're gonna bolt the bed on this thing? Yeah, I never worked with Bill Carlton. He had to change up the whole bed, tail lights, side, added some speakers on the top.
Well, if you're gonna have a stereo, you gotta have a stereo. I wanted like a wakeboard style stereo in the headache rack. Somebody behind me, they ain't gonna be able to hear either. And we put 10 Rockford tower speakers all throughout the bottom of this thing. You know, not only that, it's got 4 subs that fire down and out also. So this thing's gonna hit just as good. There's a ton of stereo just inside also. You know, we utilize every compartment in this thing just to be loud. From the speakers behind the grill to the winch, this thing's ready to party and get to work. Now, you gotta be able to get in this big old truck, right? So I had to make some steps, had to build some running boards and incorporated, you know, toolboxes in this thing just to break up some of the smoothness that's in between there. You know, tie everything together and give it a little style. I really appreciate all you guys coming out and checking this thing out. Another example, teamwork right here. And this is what happens. Everybody comes together and makes some cool stuff. You guys walk around this thing, check it out. Let me know how we did.
Truck is unreal. I'd love to build something like this one day.
way they did the speakers up here, that's amazing, man. I mean, you don't see that type of work, made out of metal.
Big 42 tires on them 28s. They're wrapped pretty good looking.
Man, I love this build, man. Bill showed out again, man. I'm definitely gonna pull up to the shop and take this one out on the weekend and pull up to the club. And
Reaction of these guys, we did what we were supposed to do. You know, when you're building a custom truck, every part and piece plays upon the whole project. From the bumper, running boards, bed. There's so much customization on this thing, it'd take you 2 hours to see everything that's going on from bumper to bumper. This thing's gonna bring a lot of business to the shop and just get people talking every day from now on.